Hello, hello, hello. I don't have my microphone. It's an island situation here. All right. I'm trying to relax myself here at the beach, and people just can't behave. They can't behave at all. So let's get the people are sending me good stuff. Who all sent this to me? Alyssa, of course, is there. Marion Harmon was there. Who else do I need to get? Robin Lee Miller sent me one as well. If I forget anybody, let me know. But I think that's it for the ones. And I got sent a whole bunch of others. A lot of them got pulled. But they know this. The defendants in the United States know that when I'm talking with Mike's on vacation, it's time to act up. They think I'm not going to notice, but I notice. I do notice. It's not easy being an international playboy, but here I am just killing it. Absolutely killing it. You know what? I think it's time for one of these.
All
right, we'll start with the sweet one.
Gray.
So it can get worse. Does it?
Hello.
How you doing?
What's your name?
Brooklyn Gray.
All right. Here you are before the court. This is an arraignment. You're before the court on 2 charges. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You're before the court on, this is alleged to have occurred February 4th, 2024 in Pittsfield Township. Count 1 is operating a motor vehicle without security as required by statute. You understand the nature of that charge?
No, sir.
Okay. That means you don't have insurance on your vehicle.
The vehicle was my mom's car. I was taking it to her.
Pardon?
It wasn't my car. It was my mom's car.
I understand that, but you were driving it,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, sir.
So you are presumed to have insurance if you're operating that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one has to be responsible for making sure there's insurance as well as the vehicle is registered. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now do you understand the nature of the charge?
Yes, sir.
That is a misdemeanor punishable by incarceration not up to or not more than 1 year and a fine not less than $200 nor more than $500. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Count 2 alleges that on that same date and at the same location in Pittsfield Township, that being actually Hunt Club Drive and Clover Lane Drive, that you operated an unregistered vehicle. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
That's a misdemeanor, also punishable by up to 90 days, $100 fine plus court costs. You understand that, sir? Yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. First question I have for you is, do you want to be represented by an attorney?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to be represented by an attorney?
No, sir.
Okay, so what are you going to do in this case?
I was looking to dismiss both of them.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. How do you think that's going to happen?
I'm not sure.
Who might know how that might happen?
My mom.
So, how old are you, young lady?
21.
You in school?
Yes.
Where?
Washington Community College.
Okay. I teach there, so I know they're a lot smarter than me right now. So, Mike?
Nope, not your mom.
Question, you want the case
dismissed. This is cute.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So, who might assist you if that is a possible option in getting it dismissed?
You?
I'm not here to assist anybody.
Oh, attorney?
Oh, wow. I know. Yeah. So I now will ask you the question again. Do you wish to be represented by an attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there we go. See, that's washed enough. All right. This is a public defender case.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Pate with and on behalf of Ms. Gray, Your Honor, we would waive any further reading of the complaint, stand mute as my client, or ask for pre-trial date and a PR bond, Your Honor.
Dependent having waived from a reading, standing mute, court will enter a not guilty plea. First thing I'll do is pre-trial will be set. There's what day?
August 7th.
To August 7th, 2024, 9 a.m. That's the bond in this case. I just set the bond. I'll get this out. I'll set her bond at a $5,000 person over cognizance bond. I'll order standard conditions, including no assaultive behavior or possession of any weapons. There's to be no use of any alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal drugs. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And young lady, what are you studying to be?
Major in sports management, minor in physical therapist.
Ah, really? That's what you really want to be when you grow up?
Yes,
Really?
I love sports.
So why you want to do all that? You can just first till you need you about.
Cause I break too many bones. So why not be a physical
What kind of
therapist?
sport are you playing?
Basketball.
And breaking bones?
Yes, I broke my hip, my pinky. I get physical. You gotta get physical on the court.
I get it. So you broke all that.
Yeah,
What position?
a point guard, shooting guard.
Yeah. How are you a guard breaking up? Never mind.
When you
No,
drive,
I don't
consider-
even want.
When you drive, there's like 6-foot girls. I gotta get to the basket.
Okay, I mean, I get that. With a pinky?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Just mark the file, our little guard. That's what we'll. All right, we'll see you on August 7th. Who's that with you?
My mom.
Did she really break all that? Wow, causing the family problems because you're breaking bones.
Yeah.
Were the points worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah, darn right they were.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Court just got.
Oh, there we go. Don't worry. Don't worry. I know that was super sweet. I've got some stuff here. It's going to get much, much worse. We can wipe this this happy moment from our memories soon enough. In fact, let's go right here and do it.
Reynolds. It is case number 2021 CR 137. Jill Gillette appears as Greenwood County Attorney. Richard Paw as Defense Counsel. Holly Reynolds now appears about 15 minutes late. Ms. Reynolds, this proceeding was scheduled to begin at 1:00 p.m. today. You weren't here until 15 minutes later. Why is that?
The road construction had a pilot car and we had to wait for the pilot car, like about 10 minutes outside of town. Last time they didn't have a pilot car when they had the road construction. So we weren't prepared.
We have all participants on the meeting now. We will proceed further. This is scheduled further hearing on a warrant to show cause matter. Court believes that the current allegation before the court is failing to report to her officer as directed. Is that a fair summary, Mr. Ketley?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I may address you further later regarding it. I also will note for the record that there was some research done regarding the issue of continuing jurisdiction of this court over this matter. The court does note that
I always like Judge Ricky, but he is fantastic in this hearing.
at a previous hearing in this case, where the probation in this case was reviewed, I believe that was the hearing of November 18 of 2022, the court reinstated probation and extended it for 1 year, 12 months from the original expiration date. I think the original expiration date would have been January 27 of 2023, which means that the 12-month extension went to January 27 of 2024. The warrant to show cause that's before us today was actually filed even before the expiration date on this case. So it's the court's ruling that it has jurisdiction to proceed further. Mr. Paul, what are your client's intentions regarding the failing to report to her officer allegation?
Judge, which warrant to show cause? The only warrant to show. Oh, I see it now, Judge. Never mind. That was done on January 11th, but it wasn't filed until the 10th of April, Your Honor.
You mean the service return on it wasn't filed until the 10th of April?
No, she was arrested on 4/7, Judge. Okay, looks like everything is. No, that is correct, Your Honor.
All right, the court will proceed further then. And again, your client's intentions?
Judge, when I spoke to her last time before we had this issue, her intentions were at that time was to waive her evidentiary hearing and admit to 2 violations as outlined in the motion to revoke probation on 4/23 of 24.
All right. Ms. Reynolds, you've been present when your attorney made an announcement on your behalf that you would now intend to waive any formal due process hearing that you'd otherwise be entitled to, and instead stipulate and agree that you committed the failing to report violation, which was alleged by Mr. Ketley in his most recent warrant to show cause. In waiving your hearing, you'd be waiving the right to require the state to present evidence and prove the allegation by a preponderance of the evidence. You could challenge the state's evidence with the assistance of your lawyer, Mr. Paul, present your own evidence, and confront the state's witnesses unless good cause was shown. Among other lesser remedies that the court has, the court could consider an outright revocation of your probation and having you serve the remaining balance of your sentence locked up. Ms. Reynolds, do you understand these things?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it your intention to waive a hearing in this case and stipulate and agree that you committed the failing to report violation as alleged?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The court finds that the defendant has knowingly waived her right to a hearing in this case and stipulates and agrees that she committed the failing to report violation as alleged by Mr. Ketley. Also, I'll obviously ask for recommendations from counsel, but I want to start off with Mr. Ketley. Mr. Ketley, your allegation was made some time ago. What has been the track record of performance of your client since you filed this warrant to show cause in January?
I don't believe haven't had any contact with her, Your Honor. Since I think the last time she reported me on October 18th, and I set her up for November 1st, and then I haven't heard anything since then.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ketley. Ms. Gillette, based on what's currently before the court, what are the state's recommendations regarding an appropriate disposition here?
Judge, in this matter, we had a previous violation hearing. She was to have a 60-day sentence or sanction. There was a compassionate release for her due to her father passing away, allowing her to go to the funeral, which is not usually a thing that always happens. Sometimes we just say you're in trouble, it's too bad, you don't get to go to a funeral, but in this case we allowed that for her. She was to have 60 days done as a sanction last time. Promises to do what she needed to do, promises to go to treatment, and here we are with her basically absconded. So with her absconsion from supervision, she just took off. And with her taking off November 1st, 2023, she didn't report and hasn't reported since. Normally when someone's in trouble, they get—
Oh, just as you suspect, as Jill Gillette twists the knife here, and appropriately so. It's her job and she deserves it. You could see Judge Rickey didn't like this coming in. It slowly gets worse and worse.
get right back in and talk to their officer and get into treatment, but instead Ms. Reynolds has not done that. So my recommendations have to be an outright revocation based on her being an absconder and refusing to comply with anything with her ISO. She still had a balance due at the time that we filed the motion to revoke probation.
What is that current balance?
It was $858 at that time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Pa, as defense counsel, what is your recommendation regarding an appropriate disposition here?
Judge, I would ask that the court sanction her and then reinstate her. I know she's been working in Newton. I know that she's been working hard on her sobriety. I believe she would tell the court that, you know, as evidence today, she didn't have a ride. She lives in Newton, Kansas. Judge, I also don't believe that there's been any other criminal matters against Miss Reynolds during this whole time, which is something we rarely see in these cases. Usually when people are not reporting, they're out doing bad things. And from what Miss Reynolds tells me, she's been out doing good things, trying to better herself, work a job, you know, keep that job. And so that's why my recommendation, Your Honor, is to sanction her with what you feel is appropriate and reinstate her.
Very well. Holly Reynolds? At this time, I would address you personally, and I'll ask you, do you have any personal statements that you wish to make to the court in mitigation of punishment here, or anything further that you personally would like to present to the court, in addition to what Mr. Pa has already presented on your behalf?
I'm sorry for being absconded. I didn't become absconded just for no reason. It was just, I had a mental breakdown because my dad died. The guy I was with for 10 years died from kidney failure. It was just so many deaths, one right after the other, that I couldn't handle it anymore. And I mentally broke down and I quit.
Well, I'm not knocking, you know, deaths are bad. She lost her father. That's undeniably bad. But I do take umbrage with the characterization of so many deaths one after the other. You name two. You named two, and the only important one was your father.
Seeing everybody, I quit going to corrections. I quit going to work. I quit doing everything and got really depressed. It's been really hard on me. I mean, there was 5 deaths all within a year. I mean, it was really bad. And I'm still trying to deal with it, and it's hard.
Okay, anything else? Okay, I saw the shake of your head no, so I will perceive that you've completed your statement to the court. Ms. Reynolds, you were placed in this case on reporting probation with a heavy emphasis on the word reporting. ISOs often are very aware of community resources that their clients can be referred to when they're having stressful situations. I'm not making light of the pain that's associated with any of the deaths that you referred to in your statement. Everyone has to deal with the tragedy of death at some point in their lives. When you've had a history of any type of drug offenses, it's really important that you stay in contact with your supervising officer, let him know what's going on with you, and then let him make the appropriate referrals or to try to get you some sort of assistance with whatever problems that you're having. What you cannot do is just check out and use that as an excuse to stop your program. What you do in that instance, Ms. Reynolds, is essentially say, I am not a candidate for the reporting probation that the judge wanted me to complete. Rather, what you're essentially doing is saying, I will just face the music of doing my time. That apparently is where we are in this case. Ms.
Preach it,
Reynolds.
Judge.
You've had ample opportunity to correct your behaviors, report to your officer, seek his help, if necessary, demand his help, and to utilize the resources that are out in the community to keep you in the community. You've elected not to do that. On top of that, Ms. Reynolds, you're habitually late for court, including being 15 minutes late today. And indeed, there may have been some road construction and a pilot car situation, but you should have left earlier. You should allow extra time. I just don't think you take court seriously, Ms. Reynolds, much less supervision or probation or anything else that was involved in your case. So the only viable alternative is what the prosecutor recommends in this case. and that is an outright revocation of your probation, and that will be the order of the court. The court finds that this defendant has been willfully non-compliant with the terms and conditions of her probation, that it's not in her best interest to be on a probation, which she clearly is not amenable to successfully finish. Holly Reynolds will make promises and not follow through on them. And she's been given ample.
Stay with this. The best is yet to come. It's really kind of wild.
Opportunity and even been punished for previous non-compliance, and doesn't even take serious jail sanctions seriously enough to conform her behavior to what's expected by the court. Therefore, the court does order Holly Reynolds to serve the remaining balance of her sentence in Department of Corrections custody. The court orders her to be taken into custody by the representatives of the Greenwood County Sheriff's Office until her custody can be transferred to serve the remaining balance of the 20-month prison sentence that was originally ordered in the case. With that said, Ms. Gillette, I would ask your office to do appropriate research and determine the appropriate number of jail time credit days to which this defendant is entitled, and include that in the journal entry of revocation, which will stem from today. I do know she has some jail time credit. I will note that she does have a 12-month post-release supervision period, which this court re-announces. And I believe that she was in a 20% good time credit category with this particular offense of possession of methamphetamine, a level 5 drug felony. All right, with that order made, Ms. Gillette, is there anything further that you need clarification on?
No, I was looking up her jail time credit. And I don't know if she's got new charges out of Saline County, but she did spend an overnight in there in June, so.
All right. I will say that whatever balance exists in this case is declared to be immediately due and payable and collectible. It can be referred to collection agency for further handling.
What if I can pay it?
No additional fees will be imposed today. It does appear that her balance previously was $858, but the court will not add any more bids amounts, despite Mr. Pau's involvement on her behalf and representation.
It still gets worse.
Court finding that I don't think she's got the financial resources while locked up to pay additional amounts. All right, Mr. Pau, are you aware of anything further we need to address today?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much for your timely appearance here today, Mr. Pau.
Hold on. Can they give you?
Yeah, can I
to
get
prepare
a
for
week
this?
to
Like,
prepare for this?
she is my
This is
employee.
27 months of my life that's gonna be locked up. I need to say bye to my kids.
Mm-hmm. She's his employee, but he later asked to give her a kiss goodbye, and he simps pretty hard for an employee. I mean, if it was Yesenia, I'd be like, you got to take her away. I don't know what to tell you. I kid.
I'm not understanding a thing you're saying, ma'am.
Can I get at least a week to be able to say goodbye to my kids and my family?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
My employee, sir. And like, she spent the last 2 months getting her life together, at least for that much,
Like,
to
I
come
really
and work
am
for me.
not
This
getting
court
in trouble.
disagrees. Getting her life together would have included reporting to her officer. And she didn't even make the effort to do that one time, according to Mr. Ketley. So I'm not sure what your involvement is here, sir, but the court's order stands. She's in custody of the sheriff's office until she can be transferred to the Secretary of Corrections in their custody.
Can you get my affairs together, like at
No.
least 20?
No, I'm not going to defer your time. You need to go into custody today, Ms. Reynolds.
Sir, can you leave, please? Can I give her a hug? Can you leave, please?
That's up to the officer.
You're not going to be cussing in court. You're not going to be cussing in court.
Sorry. Sir,
Judge Ricky's not having it. The officer's not having it. Jill Gillette's not having it. Nobody should be having it. But it's beautiful to say, look, no, we've hit the boundary. Your behavior's over the line. It's time to be remanded. It's over.
Jill, did you have something else you needed to bring to the attention of the court?
No, Judge, I was just filling out all of the notes that I have to for the journal entry. I've
Right.
started.
Thank you to the officer on scene. of being able to take her into custody at this time. If there's
Your Honor.
nothing further then, excuse me? Sorry, did I hear someone?
I was talking to her. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I apologize.
Okay, again, thank you. If there's nothing further then, the Holly Reynolds matter will be in recess at this time. And this
Exciting and new.
We actually in person, not in a little box.
Yeah, I got here at 9. And
What?
and it's Dante.
It's Dante,
I've not seen this,
so an E.
but a bunch of people sent it to me, so I'm sure a lot of you have.
Oh, the A is a long A.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
But Marion
I'm
Harmon.
like,
actually
I
put
was
it in
gonna
a
put
nice
an E on the
package.
end, and then I said, oh.
I know a lot of
Please
people
tell
get
me.
confused.
All right, it's okay. I'll probably mess it up again, but
No, you
okay,
good.
thanks for letting me know. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Silver.
So Conrad Silver on behalf of.
All right, this is an arraignment. Is it? No? Oh, to withdraw his plea. Right, because he had tried to appear via Zoom and I couldn't do, okay. All right, so this is your motion to withdraw your plea? Why do you want your plea withdrawn?
Just because the situation was misunderstood. I mean, as far as like the insurance and the tags, like I understand that. That's why I paid like the day of the ticket. But the officer was following me and then detained me without any questioning and was searching my car for over like 15 minutes. Then tried to get into the trunk of my car when he asked me.
Okay, that's why you want to withdraw your plea?
I'm trying to get my vehicle back because I can't afford to give $3,000 to get my car back. My car shouldn't have been towed.
Hold on a second. Okay, so your car got impounded. Okay. Okay, young man, okay. All right, let me just ask you this. At the time that you were pulled over, you were by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So, there might have been something else here, but I'll just tell you what I can see based on paper. The offense took place and specifically I'm addressing your statement that your vehicle shouldn't have been impounded, right? So, the offense or the stop, the date that you came into contact with the police took place on, I have May 14th of 2024 on Carpenter Road.
Yes, correct.
Right near Center Valley. So you're down by Target.
Yeah, I was down by Target in McDonald's.
Gotcha. Okay, got it. And then just looking for at about 10 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah, it was about 10.
Right. Well, I'm just looking at the ticket. I'm just saying what I can see. And then all right. Okay, so that's on May 14th. When I'm looking at your driver's license, right? the information. Your license, you have an enhanced license that's valid.
Yes.
Problem is, well, I don't know if it's a problem or not. I have an issue date on that of June 18th of 2024.
Of like when they gave me the new license? Is that what you asking?
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is this. I have that your license was issued June 18th of 2024. Now, my question is this. Right, your birthday's in March, right?
Yeah, March 10th.
Right. So right. Okay, so let me just work it through here. Your original license that you received was on March 3rd of 2010,
Yes.
right? So that license in 2010, if you get a 4-year license, so 14, 18, 22, and then it should have been 26, which means, well, it looks to me that the license prior to this one that you got in June, there wasn't one.
So I went to the Secretary of State and they told me that someone up there made an error in 2016.
In 2016?
Yeah. And then I ended up taking the driver's test twice. I don't know why someone up there made an error.
What? Sorry.
That's what,
In 2016,
It's everybody else.
somebody made an error?
yes, that's what they told me at the Secretary of State.
I'll
That's
be-
why it showed up on his computer that there was 2 licenses, and he said that one was suspended. And
Whoa.
that sense,
Where'd the second license go?
that's what he told me.
That there were 2?
Yes, he after he searched my car, and when I told him, he came back to the squad car. He said, "How do I get in the trunk of your car?" I told him, "You don't have probable cause for that, or a warrant. I don't know why you need that." He went back and kept searching. Then he got in the car, and I just wasn't responding to him because he wasn't listening to me. And then he said, "Well, you have 2 driver's licenses and 1 suspended, so I'm towing your car."
Okay, so here's what, hang on a second.
But it's all profiling and errors, of course.
I don't know anything about the search. And I
He's a
get
victim.
that you may be upset about that, but I'm not here to deal with that, right? He said you had 2.
Yes.
It indicates he had a state ID, expired state ID, and maybe that's what the confusion.
But it's like, what?
Hold on. The report indicates he had a state ID.
Correct. Expired at the time of the stop. And as we learned previously, you cannot have a driver's license and a state ID.
Right. So, okay, young man, when did you get the state ID? You know?
So I lost my wallet and that one was old. That's why I went to the Secretary of State to figure that out. Because I was confused. The moment he told my
why you went to the Secretary of State when? Right after this, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right after, because I was confused. I didn't know. And then on top of that, when he stopped me, it wasn't like he was even asking me for any of that. He told me, "Get out the car or I'm gonna arrest you."
Okay, look, young man, if you want to be mad at the officer, you can be mad at the officer and you can do whatever. It doesn't get me anywhere today trying to deal with your motion to withdraw your plea. Okay? So you can tell me all of that. That's not going to factor into anything I have to deal with. Understood?
Yeah.
So when did you get a state ID? Do you know?
Somebody made an error. I don't know. They just.
Well, this guy's getting on my nerves.
This is
okay. Let me ask you this.
Somebody made an error.
You got your license, because I can see it from here, in 2010.
You can see the tide turning with Simpson. It's slow, but he's getting there.
You would have had to go back on your birthday in 2014 to renew your license, because it would have been a 4-year license, right? If you had done that, that license should have been good to 2018. Okay, let me stop there for a minute. You're telling me that when you went to the Secretary of State, you're saying somebody said they made a mistake in 2016.
Yes. And this is the second time I've ever even been pulled over. I've never.
Well, again, I don't, that doesn't help me.
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
That's what they told me. They had to call HR, all types of stuff to try to figure it all out. And then I even had to take I took a driver's test twice, and because they needed me to, because someone made an error up there. I got paperwork at home for 2 different.
yeah, but that doesn't. Mr. Siller, all you can see is that the only thing he had on him was a Michigan ID.
Well, it's. Officer indicated that when he ran the plate, he said there was an expired state ID.
When he ran
his name and.
When he ran his name.
Right, and he came back with an expired state ID and not a license, not a valid license.
Okay, so.
It's good news. That was now at the plate.
No, right. And what I'm getting at is. Yeah, I'm now looking at the ticket.
Yeah, the remark section.
Right. Okay, young man. Do you know when you got that state ID?
I ended up getting robbed, and
No, I don't. I'm not.
I don't remember, because I don't have it on me.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
What about the
Profiling an
one
error
that
and robbed.
I'm talking the one in May, the expired one that the officer saw.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have that one?
No.
Okay. So whether there was a mistake or not, I can't say. All I know is this, that as Mr. Schiller was alluding to, you can't have a state ID and a license at the same time. So whenever you may have done it, when you went to get, so you would have had about, if they said 2016, and I'm guessing here, but this may make sense. You, in 2016, at some point, you may have lost your license or something happened. You go to the Secretary of State, because there would have been no reason for them to have contact with you from, if I just go by the beginning of your license, till 2018. But if they're telling you a mistake is made in 2016, fine. You probably need a photo ID, right? quickest way for you to get a photo ID, or you could have gotten your license replaced, but somehow or another you get a Michigan ID. The moment you get that Michigan ID, your driver's license is canceled. And so now what you have is you have a Michigan ID, right? Which is why at whatever point prior to that time that occurred, it could have occurred between 18 and 22, or it could have occurred in that period from 14 to 18. And if they're telling you 16, that's, I bet you, when it occurred. And at some point,
Judge is trying to make
you're
this work.
operating off of a Michigan ID. And then when the officer pulls you over, all you have is an expired ID. Likely when they went in, it really isn't two licenses that he saw, because I don't see another number attached to
Yeah, so when he said that, I was like, that doesn't make no sense.
Well, it does, but it's not a license he's looking at. He's looking at what he sees are two forms of ID. He's seeing your Michigan ID when he's running it. He's seeing your Michigan ID and he's seeing a license. You can't have both.
Okay.
And so if that's what the officer saw, I can understand his suspicion then, because you shouldn't be able, you can't have two. Whether somebody made a mistake or not, it's the Secretary of State, I don't know. I'm just saying you can't have both.
Which is number one.
Then after
Wrong.
this stop occurs, you go to the Secretary of State. They're going to make you, you're over 18, so they're going to make you basically start again, because at some point, that's why you took the driver test course, because at some point your license lapsed for an excessive period of time.
Okay.
And that's going to be the period at which, whenever it was, that you had the Michigan ID.
Mhm.
That's what happened. That's why you become the focal point. Now, it makes sense with what, it may not make sense to you when you're there, and you may think the officer's not telling you something, but I can understand it now, because you have two forms of ID. And the only one he finds on you, or that you have, is the expired Michigan ID. But you had said you lost your wallet, or somebody took your wallet, so you don't even have your new Michigan ID on you.
They just gave me a new one out of, but
What?
they just gave me a new one now.
Wait, in June?
I got it in my
No, but
I don't know why Judge Simpson is being so nice in this circumstance and trying to understand it. The guy doesn't have a valid driver's license. It's just that simple. He flat doesn't have one.
that's different. Okay. I'm having to deal with this way too much in my life. That's different than what the officer had you with. The expired one, what he had you with was an expired Michigan ID. That's different than having a driver's license. That may be that I don't know why you're there in 16, but if something happened to your driver's license in 2016, you go to the Secretary of State, what you want is your license back. And when they're telling you somebody made a mistake, I can't say it's happened. Whatever happens, you get a Michigan ID.
He knows he doesn't have a license. He's not confused.
Cancels your driver's license.
Okay, I understand that.
You following me?
I'm following.
And then as you're just kind of moving along, living your life, doing whatever, at some point, and just looking at it from the Secretary of State side, your license, you just lapsed. It's like you went in and said, I don't want my license, give me a state ID, is how they're gonna see it, regardless of what happened when you were down there at the Secretary of State. And then that period in time lasted so long that then after this happens, you go back in, you gotta basically start again. Make sense? I mean, that make you happy?
Oh, no, that does. No, I understand now.
And so, and maybe so that you can sort of understand from the officer's perspective, okay, because you're bringing this up, and maybe to chill you out a little bit. The officer, when they run you, I now get two things. You don't have anything on you except an expired one, right? But I now get two things that come back on you. The only thing you can show, I don't want to say it, I'm trying to make it really clear because I think this is what happened when he told you had two. If I'm the officer, I'm not sure that you ever got a driver's license. Okay, and here's, and I'm guessing a little bit, but it makes sense. Because I see two things come up, right? And the numbers are gonna be similar, but I see two things come up. And the only thing I've got on you physically is an expired ID. Which then leads me to the conclusion that you didn't have a driver's license, but for whatever reason, a driver's license is coming back, but that driver's license is gone. Yeah. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, at that point, and I'm gonna tell you, even if it were me on the road and I stop you and all of that comes back to me, I'm suspicious of you at that point. Because those things shouldn't be happening, right? And it would have almost been, this sounds crazy, but sometimes life's, it would have almost been better if you hadn't had the expired Michigan ID, right? Because at that point, I could almost say there's got to be a mistake somewhere. But the moment you had the Michigan ID, I think you just have a Michigan ID that you didn't have a driver's license, but somehow not a driver's license yet. Okay? That's why he probably has the suspicion of what the heck's going on.
So,
I mean, I'm not saying it's your fault, but what I'm saying is, I don't think it's the officer's fault necessarily either, the raising of the suspicion. Whatever happened, is they're telling you in 2016, this was just waiting to occur at some point.
Okay.
It was just going to happen. And you probably walked out of there thinking that you had a driver's license when really all you had was a state ID wherever that got messed up.
So whether he did that, but he did all that after.
Did all what after?
Like, why didn't he run my plate?
No, he knows before he's gonna say anything to you. I'm telling you right now.
No, he didn't run my plate still until after.
You can't have a driver's license and a state ID. If this guy went to get a state ID, he knows he doesn't have a driver's license. It's plain as day to me. He's stupid. He's very stupid, but he's not that stupid.
Plague.
He didn't, even that, he didn't look at none of that until like 20 minutes after.
So he does that before he
goes over.
What you mean?
Oh yeah, he knows.
He has all the information before he stops.
Before he
you know how I know he didn't?
Look, man, you can sit here and argue with me. I'm gonna tell you what. Do a ride along. You will see. They know it before they necessarily.
I'm asking you how. Because he ran my, how he gonna run my plates when I have a
Oh.
cover over my plate? My Audi is custom.
It doesn't,
When I put it out,
sir, what do you want to do? Because you just want to be mad at the officer.
I'm
for
not
something.
mad. I'm
And
not
no,
mad.
listen to me.
Yeah, it's pretty clear he is now gone too far.
You want to be mad at the officer. I would be mad at the officer too if there wasn't a valid reason, which is the only reason I went through all of this stuff. And what I'm trying to tell you is you need to just chill about it. It doesn't matter. You can sit here all day and night long and try to blame the officer for it. Because the first question I asked you is I said, were you alone? And the reason I asked you if you were alone is because the moment you don't have a license, he can't leave that vehicle. That's why your vehicle's impounded, because that's the first thing you came to me and said.
I do
So if you
understand.
want to argue,
Understand.
you can go argue elsewhere. I'm here to just deal with your motion.
I'm not mad or frustrated. I'm saying he couldn't have ran my plates.
Yes, he could.
How are you gonna run a plate when the plate got a cover on it? He can see through the new plates that you can cover up. Like, that's what I'm trying to ask. That's what I'm not understanding. When I pulled off on Carpenter, he was coming from Textile.
And you're saying your plate isn't exposed on your vehicle?
My plate, it's the new plates that you can order. So it can be exposed when I allow it to be. I just picked the car up. The car has been in the shop for months. I haven't driven my car all year. When I pulled off on Textile, he just can't, he following me.
Okay,
Before
he's just a bad officer. You know what? Go ahead, sue him.
All
Have
right,
your
and
day, have your day in court.
That's what I'll do.
You go ahead and do it, but don't do it here because I don't have any more time to listen to you. I'm trying to explain it to you, but you want to be hard-headed and not do it. You want to say, how does he know? I'm telling you, before they walk up to that vehicle, they know who you are. Just as simple as that. You may not like it. Everybody else may not like it. That's too bad. What's the basis for your motion?
I appreciate that. I'll just sue him.
It's what?
I'm gonna just sue him. It's fine. But
You're not getting anywhere. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're being hard-headed because I can tell you, why do you think I just went through all of it? The reason I went through all of that is I can tell you exactly what happened. You didn't have a driver's license because I can tell from your record, you didn't get a driver's license issued to you until June of this year.
Okay.
Motion denied.
All right, appreciate it.
Stupid.
Oh, that was fun. That was fun. The whole time, and he's literally, it's not because Judge Simpson's stupid or anything. He is just trying to give the most favorable construction possible to the defendant. In the circumstance that might be the case, he is being overly generous. And then after wasting 15 minutes on it, the guy pulls this crap on him. I mean, he's wrong as a matter of law. So the ruling isn't some emotional reaction. It's just correct. But now he's just like, oh man, I tried to be nice to this guy for 15 minutes, and this is what I get. It's a good old fashioned no good deed goes unpunished. All right. Well, now that we're just rolling, I've got another clip that you're going to absolutely hate. I got a couple old battle axes that are just really unlikable. I think Alyssa sent this to me yesterday. I didn't have time for it, but why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
And you're Ms. Koch?
I am Miss.
I mean, seriously, don't watch this.
Okay. And this, so this is 2012 LM 44. Mr. Trimble is appearing for the plaintiff. So Ms. Koch, you've asked for this hearing to on the garnishment. It's your burden to show that somehow these funds that are being garnished are exempted under Kansas statute. Can you point to which exemption this falls under?
All I understand is that this is a 12-year-old.
Spoiler alert, they cannot point to the damn exemption as required by the law.
case, as far as I know.
'Cause there isn't
I
one.
haven't- I don't understand the legal words that you're using, but it's been a long, long time.
Judge, if you could stop using legal words. You act like we're in a court of law or something.
And I've already paid him nearly $10,000 out of my 401k. He took that. I don't have any additional money. I'm on Medicaid now. I don't have additional money for them to take. This is a 1 day a week job that they're trying to garnish. I get $70 pay every 2 weeks. And it's not worth it to do that. I don't have, enough to garnish.
Well, you're 71.
Okay.
I'm near retirement. I'd like to retire.
Okay.
Au contraire, they've got a judgment. You've got a job. They're garnishing it. That's what's going on here.
Mr. Trimble, do you have a response to this?
Your Honor, I think just generally plaintiff would oppose any order modifying or quashing the garnishment unless the court finds an exemption applies.
Okay, so Ms. Cook,
Translation, this is so dumb, I don't need to say any more than that.
am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Coke,
Yes.
no
So-
relation.
So, Ms. Koch, there's a statute that lays out exemptions to garnishment. For example, if they're trying to garnish money that you receive from the government, say if they're trying to garnish your Social Security, if they're trying to garnish a percentage that's of the federal minimum wage that's higher than allowed, that would be an exemption. There's several exemptions, and if you ask for a hearing, it's your, under the law, it's your burden, it's your responsibility to show that they're garnishing funds that they're not allowed to by law.
Well, I don't have an attorney, Your Honor, and I can't afford an attorney. And I'd like to seek legal aid or something like that, but there was no time to do that in all of this process before today.
That doesn't stop the goof sitting next to her from trying, despite the fact that she knows nothing.
Okay, well, yeah, we're required by law. If you ask for a garnishment, then we're required by law to set this within 7 days of your request. Mr. Trimble, your records show that she still owes money?
That's correct, Your Honor. I don't see a record of receiving any payment.
Okay, and the court file.
I don't know if she ever had burrito selling days, but if she did, they're long past.
Show that you basically owe the same amount of money that you owed when this judgment was made in 2012. So, I mean,
Your Honor,
people think yes, you can say something.
this is not just $4,000. This is interest accrued for all this time that has made that bill far higher than the $4,000.
Yeah, we know it was set forth in the pleadings. We're fully aware.
Which I could not afford at the time and still cannot afford to pay.
Understand that they the legislature, the people who you elect to the legislature, have deemed that 12% interest under Chapter 61 is what can be charged.
Compounded.
And yes, yeah, 12% annually. That's set by the state legislature. That's something that you need to take up with your legislator on that. And that's set by law. And
Griggsy, you have an absolute simp addiction. Seek help.
People think judges can do whatever they want to, but we have to follow the law, and that currently is the law set out in the state of Kansas. the
So
if you owed more, under chapter 60, you'd only have to pay 4% interest. But under chapter 61, the legislature has deemed that it's 10% interest before judgment and 12% interest after judgment, and I can't change that. And
so if she just retires, which she's already talked about doing since her last fall at work, then what happens? Because
Well,
that was the other thing. Her boss wasn't really wanting to do all this.
well, I can't tell you, I can't give you legal advice.
Right.
What you can do is you can contact Mr. Trimble's office, and I'm sure they will work with you to figure out how to satisfy this debt. Am I correct in that, Mr. Trimble?
That's correct, Your Honor. I'd be willing to share our contact information.
And can I'm sorry, I'm her daughter. What is the amount
Well,
that
ma'am, and I can't really. You're and I've let you ask.
I didn't get that before. That's the daughter. Boy, the apple does not fall far from the tree here.
Ask a couple of questions, but actually you're acting at this point as her attorney, and well, I know, and but you're sitting at the table with her, and you're practicing law in the state of Kansas, and if you don't have a license to do that, then we're in trouble. So, and I hate to do that, but that's if you're sitting there and you're asking questions and you're representing her, you're acting as her attorney, and unless you're licensed to do that, I can't allow you to do that. And so unless you can cite some exemption on this, I have to deny your request, and I have to continue to enforce the garnishment. What you can do, and I can just talk to you about procedure. I can't tell you, I can't give you legal advice, but this is a procedure that I'm stating, is that you can call Mr. Trimble's office, and you can, and I'm sure you can work out some way of satisfying this debt, and then you all can talk outside of court and maybe reach some sort of a settlement agreement on this. But as for what happens in court today, I'm bound by the laws that have been set up by the state legislature, and the laws say that if you can't cite an exemption, if you can't show that they are taking funds that they're not allowed by law to take on this garnishment, then I can't stop the garnishment. Do you understand that?
Is there no statute of limitations on any of this?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Well, you have a judgment. You had a judgment from 2012, and as long as they...
Oh my God, the judge attempts to explain it to her. I get this question in various contexts constantly. It's the bane of my existence. The statute of limitations applies to the commencement of the action. They have a judgment against you. Occasionally, you have to do things to maintain your judgment, but we know you're not getting out of this on statute of limitations. That's it. Forget it.
They file the proper paperwork. They can keep. There's a statute of limitations prior to judgment. If they had filed a lawsuit and not obtained a judgment within the required amount of time, then there's a statute of limitations. But after the statute of limitations, if they file the proper paperwork, they can continue to collect. Mr. Trimble, am I stating that accurately?
That's my understanding as well, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Well, my understanding is that a statute of limitations is 7 years. I didn't hear from the...
Which is number one, wrong.
I heard from them last year with Mr. Homolke, who was the attorney at the time, and I haven't heard since until now.
Your Honor, if I might,
You may.
I think it's so cute how she thinks her understanding matters. Seriously? You let that come out of your mouth? Okay.
We are stepping in as counsel for Dean Homolka. He retired.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so that's might be your confusion.
Yes.
And the records also show that there was a renewal affidavit to renew this debt filed in 2017. That was done in a timely. There was a garnishment that was filed in 3 years ago. So you must have heard from them in December of 2021 because there was an order of garnishment filed then. Just 3 years ago, there was a garnishment that was filed in 2022. We had a hearing, we had a request for hearing on that. Then there was, so you at least heard from him 2 years ago.
That's what I said. Yes, but that was
Yes.
a
And
long
so,
time.
yeah, and so, but as I said, if you call Mr. Trimble's office, they'll work. Yeah, I'm sure they'll work with you on trying to settle this. And if you want to talk to legal aid, and I'm sure that they will give you some legal advice, which I cannot do. Of course, Mr. Trimble can't give you legal advice because he's representing the other side.
I understand that.
But yeah, this is a 12-year-old debt, and it's going to continue to follow you until you can get some sort of settlement done. But but today, under the law, this is whenever somebody asks for a garnishment hearing, I always grant it for them because I want them to know that they can come to court and be heard. But unless you and this is unfortunate, but I can't afford it is not an argument that the legislature allows under the law. You have to show that this garnishment is being done illegally. And I haven't heard anything today to show me that, so I'm going to have to let Mr. Trimble proceed on his garnishment. Mr. Trimble, can you prepare the order and journal entry from today?
I would be happy to, Your Honor.
Okay, and thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. You lose. You are awarded 0 points. She just didn't want to pay. Like, I get it. She doesn't have a lot of money or whatever, but she let this thing snowball because she jammed the system the whole time, and now she thinks she can just walk on it, and you can't. It's just gonna haunt you. You have two options here. You can either just let them garnish you every time you work, or you can scrape up a lump sum and go to them and say you want to settle for it. They'll take less than the whole amount. I'm confident, but they're not going to take nothing. They're going to let their garnishment go. So this woman will choose the path of least resistance and stop working. That'll end it. Then there's nothing to garnish. That's what she'll do based on her character in this hearing. But the statute of limitations, it's a pet peeve of mine. Even my clients do it to me. They come to me, so because there's 2-year statute of limitations on a personal injury claim in the state of Illinois. And they'll have the date, and they don't know anything, but they'll have that date in their head. And they're like, well, they think I have to settle the case by then. They're like, well, what are we doing with the statute of limitations? I'm like, thanks. I'm handling this for you. We filed the lawsuit 18 months ago. I've produced you for a deposition. We've answered discovery. The statute of limitations is not a problem. But thanks for pointing out the 2-year date of your accident. I appreciate that. Oh, good times. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all soon.